Okay, so what's up, everybody? I'm DT here,
I'm Joe.
and you're watching Type of Dudes. And we recently reacted for the first time Al Bundy, Married with Children, a little bit before our time, and it's interesting to kind of go back in time to see what shows were like back then. Well, now we're going even further back. We're going from the 80s to the 70s. This is the best of Archie Bunker, All in the Family. He's obviously seen a little bit of him, heard of him a little bit. I haven't seen him ever. I haven't seen any of his stuff, but I've heard of him. So we're gonna check out the best of Archie Bunker from All in the Family.
Let's do it.
You imagine Irene Lorenzo thinking that she's going to get that job over me with all that gray hair of hers?
Well, she just might get the job, Arch. You know, nowadays the government is pressuring companies into hiring more women.
Was that Carl Reiner,
Yeah,
the director?
yeah,
Holy shit,
I think.
that is him. Wow, he has hair.
Executive
Holy
position.
shit.
I know it's a crime against nature. Women was created for two things, making meals and babies.
Oh, there you go again with the 19th century thinking of yours.
Well, it's true. Look at your cave women. Why do you think your cave women was created with short legs and fat butts?
I
Interesting.
don't know, Arch, but I'm sure you got a good answer.
So they couldn't run fast, so the men could catch them and force them to make the meals and the babies.
Well, weren't there any cave women with long legs and skinny butts that could run faster than the men?
Well, them the men would have to bring down with a rock.
It's logical.
Now I'm starting to catch on. And what about the cave men with short legs and fat butts that couldn't catch any women?
Well, they was probably your first fags.
Who said the treatment of the
They could say
American
fags
Indian was a
on
national
TV back then?
disgrace?
Treated the American Indian national disgrace. Geronimo? Come on, it had to be some Indian that said that. Who?
President Kennedy.
What? That's a lie. Kennedy never said that. Or maybe he said it, but he didn't mean it. He maybe said it when he was running for office, trying to get the Indian vote, which he never got any. How do you know? Because, meathead, the Indians don't vote.
Oh, Archie, the Indians were given the vote in 1924.
I ain't talking about that. I'm saying that they don't use their vote like a fella told me. They sell all their horses for booze and then they can't ride into town. That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. That ain't stupid. That's the truth. That's what the Indians do to us. They're all we done for them.
Oh, we've done for them, Arch! Let me tell you something about this country and the American Indians and all we've done for them. We lied to them, we cheated them, and then we drove them off their land without paying for it.
That's right. What are you talking about their land? They never had no land. They couldn't read or write. I can sit and bull sign a lease.
He's dead serious,
All
too.
the Indians ever do is ride around scalping wagon trains.
Archie, what would you do if somebody cheated you out of your land?
Well, I wouldn't scalp the guy and hire myself a lawyer.
Don't believe it!
He's getting frustrated.
What are you yelling about? I ain't talking about the Polacks, I'm talking about the Indians. American history lesson. You don't know nothing about Lady Liberty. Standing there in the harbor with her torch on high, screaming out to all the nations in the world, send me your poor, your deadbeats, you filthy. And all the nations sent them in here. They come swarming in like ants. You Spanish
You said he was a little racist.
Your Japs, your Chinamen, your Krauts and your Hebes, and your English fans.
How is he allowed to say this on TV?
And they're all free to live in their own separate sections. Where they feel safe, and they bust your head if you go in there. That's what makes America great, buddy.
It's the Jeffersons, Archie.
Oh, the Jeffersons. Oh, wait a minute. Hold. You don't mean them new people that moved in down the front?
Yeah, Lionel Stanley. They're really very nice people,
Oh,
Archie.
yeah, very nice. They're wonderful people. They're lovely people, Lita, but they are also colored people.
Better hold it there, Daddy.
Now, listen, little girl. Been around a lot of places, I've done a lot of things, but there's one thing Archie Bunker ain't never gonna do, and that's break bread with no jungle bunnies. We ain't gonna report it, dear officer. I want to thank you for coming over, and thanks for coming over so fast.
Okay. Oh, there is one other thing.
Yeah?
You know that colored guy that was here before?
Yeah?
You know him pretty good?
Yeah, he's a neighbor. Why?
Is he really coming back with those foot-long hot dogs?
Yeah, he'll be back with them, okay?
You know, I gave him $5.
Oh, no, don't worry about that. He's one of the good ones.
Oh, good. I'm talking about with the precinct, folks.
Hey, I'll drop him off there myself. Thanks a million. Thanks for coming.
Oh, no! While the Estradas are thinking it over, you and Henry are trying to find somebody else to buy the house.
You don't call that crooked? No, that's looking out for number one.
Where does that place Henry Jefferson?
He's number two. Why is he number two? Because, meathead, there can only be one number one and one number two. And life made Jefferson number two long before I come along.
So I suppose that the Puerto Ricans are number 3 then,
Well, no, not necessarily there, little girl. Your Puerto Ricans could be 4. Your Japs and your Chins could be 3. 3A, 3B.
Wow.
The next step is to get them to pay me like a fella.
What do you mean by that?
Oh, they're putting me on regular next week, but they're paying me less than they paid the man who used to run the forklift.
Oh, well, come on, Irene. After all, it's a well-known fact. Men are worth more than women.
Here we go.
Archie, have you been reading Playboy?
No, Irene, the Bible.
Bible?
The Bible. And in the Bible it says, God made man in his own image. He made women after, from a rib. Cheaper cut.
Wow.
Archie! I'm doing the same work as a man, and if he was getting paid $6 an hour, why should I get $5.50?
Because, Irene, you're getting what? You're getting $5.50 an hour?
Archie, that's exactly what they're paying you.
What they're paying me?
There goes your rib theory.
Is that a lot of money back then?
There's the whole country, meathead. When you see the day that they're giving women the same pay as men and giving women the same jobs, where the hell is it all going to end? What are you going to say when a woman is managing the Mets?
I'll say we have equality, right? Right. Right, Michael?
Let's think about that a minute.
Yeah. And while you're thinking about it, think about this. Equality is unfair. That's right. What's the point of a man working hard all his life, trying to get someplace, if all he's going to do is wind up equal?
Wow. You know, this is fascinating for a number of reasons. One, the conversations they were having in the 70s, we're having now. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's pretty amazing to see them, the issues back then are the same issues now. But seeing it come from this guy, I'm starting to see that there are really people like this.
Oh, yeah.
Who actually think this.
Yeah.
And he's actually coming from a place, the feelings that he has are obviously real. Mm-hmm. Of course, we might see things a little bit differently, but they're coming from a real place.
Yeah.
And it's, I don't even know, how would you even talk to someone like this guy nowadays?
I mean, you hope that you're able to have a conversation, right? He obviously has these feelings, but at the same time, you know, he's okay having these conversations with the women in his family, with his liberal son-in-law, right? Who obviously isn't so liberal when sports comes into the conversation, right? But, you know, as long as you're able to have those conversations, it really isn't about convincing the other person to be, you know, on the same side as you. It's about maintaining open, civil dialogue.
Right. But just to hear his point of view is pretty interesting, because usually I don't get a chance to see this in person.
Yeah.
Because these are the kind of things that you would only hear like as a fly on the wall in someone's house. Mm-hmm. And so, but for him to actually say these things out loud is actually pretty eye-opening for me to see that where he's coming from, and he's so open about it.
Yeah.
He's unapologetically what is the word? I don't even know what ignorant or just
Himself. He's just himself.
He comes from a different time, and
Yeah.
he just doesn't get it.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting, though.
Why, the answers are all right here in this sculpture. Take, for instance, what this represents. This here is the struggle of the races, man's inhumanity to man. Yet through it all, the shining hope of a new brotherhood, see?
He's not into it.
The girl has gone base. I'm all alone here. I'm all alone in this house. Isn't anybody else interested in upholding standards? Our world is coming crumbling down. The coons are coming.
The coons. Wow.
12% of the population is black. There should be a lot of black families living out here.
Yeah, this is only a beginning, but I think it's wonderful.
Wonderful, huh? Well, let's see how wonderful it is when a watermelon rinds come flying out the window. Some of these doctors will tell you anything you want to hear.
It's the best there is when it comes to blood. My own cousin from the hospital said so.
Your cousin from the hospital empties bedpans. Don't make him out no specialist. I know what Dr. Feinberg said. Feinstein, Feinberg, it all comes to the same thing, and I know that tribe.
I'm telling you, Archie, them kids don't leave this house until Mike can provide for her proper.
Oh, boy. 4 years before I even begin to make a living. Seems like forever.
Well, let me tell you, sonny boy, the same thought crosses my mind at least once a day.
Well,
Gloria, you married the laziest white man I ever seen.
All right. It's bad enough you gotta make fun of me. You don't have to make it worse by attacking a whole race.
Who's attacking the whole race?
You are. You just said I was the laziest white man you ever met.
What's the matter with that?
White man you ever met.
Yeah, you.
Implying that the blacks are even lazy.
Oh, no, wait a minute, meathead. You said that, not me. I never said your black beauties was lazy. It's just their systems is geared a little slower than the rest of it.
Call them names like black beauties for.
Now, that's where I got you, Mr. Liberal. Because there's a black guy that works down the building with me, and he's got a bumper and sticker on his car that says black is beautiful, right? So what's the matter with black beauties?
it's nicer than when he called them coons.
What are you looking at?
You know, it's amazing how someone can be so consistently wrong. I don't believe the things you say.
Because you're an atheist. You don't believe nothing about religion.
Look at what they say when they sneeze.
Who's that?
The Chinese. I mean, do they say God bless you or Buddha bless you?
You really want to know? The chinks just sneeze and say nothing. They can't speak English.
Why couldn't they say Buddha bless you in Chinese?
Because they don't say that. That's why. They say, well, they say anything at all, it's sayonara.
That's Japanese.
Same thing.
It's not the same thing.
What are you talking about? You put a Jap and a chink together, you're going to tell me which is which?
That's right, because I find out about them. I talk to them as individuals.
Sure, you talk to them. You say, which one of you guys is the chink? He traced me from the address I did to send us the picture.
Wow. This is amazing.
That's right. He's in a limousine right now with a phone. Oh, I want to tell you, some of these colors are real class. Oh, they got it. They spent it. I would call Munson right now.
I got to fix my face!
God, what do you mean some of these colors are classy? Why do you always have to label black people this or that?
Because when they deserve a compliment once in a while, I don't know. Now, will you get away with me? Right. Oh, well. Peter, you don't have to be nervous with a colored crowd. Just keep your eye on me.
And this was a popular show at the time.
Picture of some people.
She knows.
Tell me who the people are.
Linda and Lionel.
And what are Linda and Lionel doing in the picture?
They're sitting together on a couch.
They're sitting together on a couch. This is the kind of fun she's having in our house, huh? What's weird about? What's going on? This is going on. And this is going on! Well, wait a minute. Shouldn't we wait for the doctor, huh?
I am a doctor. I am on the staff here.
Oh. You're a regular doctor?
Only at night. By day, I strangle chickens for the colonel.
Well, go ahead, Edith. Now answer the guy. Now, you've seen Roger sashaying around here with his la-di-da talk. He's a pansy.
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
I'm not an expert on flowers.
You might as well face it. You're all alone in this. We all know Roger, and we all know he's straight. And even if he wasn't, and I said if, what difference would that make? Do you know that in many countries, England, for instance, there is a law that says whatever two consenting adults do in private is their own business?
Listen, this ain't England. We threw England out of here a long time ago. We don't want no more part of England. And for your information, England is a fag country. What? Say, are they still picking handkerchiefs out of their sleeve, huh? Are they still standing around leaning on them skinny umbrellas like this here? I know your whole society is based on a kind of a fagdom.
Dude, when was the last time you heard that word? Seriously, who says that word anymore? I can't remember the last time I heard someone say it.
Not in person.
I mean, where else would...
On TV.
Really?
Yeah.
That must have been an old show.
No, I think...
Who says that?
I think I must have heard Larry David say it. I heard it pretty recently.
Ironically?
Maybe. I don't know. But
to hear it said this many times, it's just like, wow. I know that used to be a popular word at one point.
Yeah.
I remember like in the 80s, people threw around that word a lot.
Yeah.
But to hear it so many times, especially this is a network show. It's not like they had like, you know, cable. You can like, this is like HBO or something. This is like a major network show of the 70s. Mm-hmm. And for it to talk about this stuff in this way, I'm shocked. This could never be on nowadays.
You know you're right, Archie. You're right. The British are a bunch of pansies. Pansies, fairies, and sissies. And the Japanese are a race of midgets. The Irish are boozers. The Mexicans are bandits.
And you Polacks are meatheads.
Open your presents.
Oh, yeah.
Russell wanted to send them over, but I insisted on bringing them over in person.
Well, Russell's way was better.
Oh, my, Archie, look!
Looks like gypsy underwear.
It is a moo-moo.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Not a
Thank
moo-moo.
you.
And Archie has a Hawaiian shirt.
Well, this could be the wallpaper in a fag bar. pardon me asking, but does your husband do a lot of the cooking over your house?
He does all of it. He loves it.
Oh, well, ain't you a little afraid of what people could think?
You mean that I'm a lazy wife?
No, that he's a fag.
Again.
Oh, yeah.
It's a French dish, Archie. It's called potatoes au gratin.
I don't care what you call it. You realize you spilled cheese in the potatoes?
The cheese is supposed to be there. The recipe called for it.
Are you telling me that somebody wrote in a book that you're supposed to put cheese in my potatoes?
There you go again. Anything that you haven't seen before, anything that's a little bit different, you're against. Before you were against French art, now you're against French cooking.
Let me tell you this, to the French.
He does have a certain charm to him, though.
A little bit. You know why they lost World War II? Because when the Krauts was marching into their country, the French was running around naked, putting up dirty statues and throwing cheese in the potato.
I love how certain he is about his positions, too.
But Archie, how did the Germans know they was French if they didn't have no clothes on?
Oh, they're perfect for each other.
They knew they was Frenchy because they had cheese all over them.
I don't want to argue with you. I'm just stating a fact. All blood is the same.
Well, if all blood is the same, let me ask you this. How come they ain't got no Swedes in the mafia?
What's that got to do with anything?
Seriously.
Because your Italians got a lock on it, that's all. It's in their blood. The same way it's in your black's blood to do the Scooby-Dooby-Doo.
What? Well, how do you expect him to sop up the gravy? Well, what do you want me to do?
I gotta admit, I may be a little. I never noticed the bigotry towards Italians and Polacks. I've never even heard of that. Was that a thing?
Oh yeah,
Really?
yeah. That's why the Coalition of the Communities of Color introduced the Slavs as a marginalized community.
Ah.
Yeah.
Well, you just don't see a lot of that bigotry towards them these days. It's almost like
because now,
they're included.
because they're white.
Yeah, they're
now
just white now.
the culture is like it's a lot of it's anti-white, right? So now if you're white, you're
so
you're lumped in.
They kind of adopted them.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you know, the Italians and the Irish, they were marginalized, right? A lot of Irish were, sharecroppers in the South.
Shocking.
Right?
So they were actually.
That's how country music came about. It was Irish folk music mixed with slave music together.
Wow. So for me, it's interesting because I never even heard of that. I thought, because we don't see that kind of bigotry towards those groups today.
Yeah.
Or at least I don't.
I use one of our buns. Well, that won't do no good. That's a hamburger bun. If still, Archie has to have his Parker house. What do you want me to do? I don't know. All I know is you're going to buy this dinner. I was sorry. Excuse me for living.
What is all the hollering out here?
Nothing.
For a minute, I thought I was in the back room of a Greek restaurant.
Let's pause it. Is it
Greeks too?
Yeah, so he is like this to everybody, right?
Yeah.
Could you call him racist if it's just point blank blanketed all different types of ethnic groups?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there's no.
Well, he's like that to whites, right?
Well, as whites as we know it today, but back in this time,
Right.
apparently they were like the other.
Well, yeah, but they're all. They're still white.
Right. As we know it. But to him, they were separate. They were
I'm
other.
Sure, back then they were still white.
So what are you asking? Like of today's standards, is he a racist?
Yeah, of today's standards. If you hate everybody
Hate
equally,
everybody?
Because the definition of racism is believing that your specific race is superior or above
well, then yes.
all the other ones.
Then that answers your question. He really thinks that he's better than these people.
Than the other whites.
He thinks he's better than, yeah, he has.
But then that's not, like, that. There's no distinction there.
That's why I was so curious. Like, well, what does he represent? Is he, what is he? Like, what is that category that he puts himself in?
I think he's an Anglo male.
No, but what is he? Okay, Christian. I don't even know what type of white. It was so different back then because he gets on the Irish and the Italians and the Polacks, like, and the Greeks. So I don't know what is his classification that makes him believe that he is. I don't even know. See, this is a good history lesson, I suppose, because I don't know what was going on back in these. I mean, this is 40, 50 years ago.
Yeah.
So
it's not. I mean, it's not that long ago.
But to answer your question, if you think you're better than everybody,
but you personally are better, right? Versus your race is better, because when he talks about the Polish, the Italians, the Irish, the Greeks, all of those are part of his race, right? So that's.
Does he believe that? I don't think he believes that.
Well, I mean, that's the truth.
Well, like I said, as we know it today.
Well, I don't think there's I don't think there was more of a distinction back then. I think back then they believed that the three races were more different than they believe now. Now we know that the three races are actually a lot closer genetically than they thought back then.
Well, when you think about it, when you have this type of mindset, it's coming from a place of, what would you say? A little bit of fear in there, a little bit, a bit of fear of change.
Sure.
A little bit of protecting what you have, a little bit of, it's like a cocktail of feelings that make you want to protect and exclude others. You know what I'm saying? It's a very, very primal instinct of man.
Yeah.
So I think it's just coming from a place, where he doesn't like change. He's set in his ways. He was raised a certain way. He comes from a different time. He feels overwhelmed by all these new social changes, and he's pushing back. Which kind of an interesting conversation is that I can see the backlash because this is right before the Reagan era.
Yeah.
I can see how all this social change coming at someone like this, all of a sudden, it's like too much. And I can see how the backlash of like, you know what, I want a conservative person. I want to go back to a more conservative time. All this stuff is happening too quickly. I don't like it. And to see his mindset in the 70s, I can see how people like him said, this is too much too fast. Let's go more conservative because I don't like all this. I can see how that happened just by listening to him. You know what I'm saying? It's pretty interesting.
Yeah. Difficult out for himself, Irish Mick.
You don't like the Irish?
Whatever, all right.
I told you.
Over their beach or boozing it up.
I happen to be Irish. And I don't like what you just said.
I don't like it either. I mumble over my beach too. I'm Italian. Oh, jeez. I mean, you know, I couldn't tell her. Irish and Italian. Hey, look what we got here, Edith. Mixed marriage. What mixed? We're both Catholics.
Look, your phone's fixed. Frank, I think we better go.
No, well, don't run away, because Edith's going to put coffee and cake on the table.
See, he doesn't see them as his equal.
Sorry, but you know us Irish Catholics. I got to go have a few drinks and then rush right off to confession.
What do you mean rush? What's the rush?
This is one confession that can't wait.
Oh, come on. A nice lady like you, what would you have to confess?
What I'm thinking about you.
Whoever it is bought Bowman's house must be doing pretty good if he can lay out $8-10 a day for a cleaning woman.
$10? Oh, they're getting more than that for good cleaning people today. Maybe she's a live-in maid.
Well, what are you talking about, Edith? The only people nowadays can afford live-in help are rich people and Jews.
There we go.
Not all Jewish people are rich.
I never knew one that wasn't.
The Steiners from our old neighborhood weren't. They didn't have as much as we did, even.
To hear them tell it. Hey, You don't suppose Bowman sold his house to one of that tribe, do you? Well, he was always a jerk, but he wouldn't do a thing like that to this neighborhood, would he?
Well, what I'm wondering is if a rich Jewish person could afford to hire a maid, why would he buy Jim Bowman's old house?
To make trouble, Edith, that's right. These people are always looking to make a test case. What do you think they got at their organization there? What do you call it? B'nai Bris. Well, I'm going to go over there and find out.
Where are you going?
Well, I'm just going to take a walk over to Jim Bowman's house, and I'm going to talk to him about it.
If you think he's prejudiced.
Prejudice?
Yeah. Against who? Against black people. Against black people? Mr. Bunker? Well, that's the most ridiculous thing I ever heard.
Yeah, you see that nice guy? You thought you knew him, you thought you knew me. Oh, these liberals. They're supposed to be so sensitive, you know? Well, I'll tell you where this guy's sensitive, Lionel, right in his tuchus.
Where? It's a Yiddish word. It means... Oh, I know where it's at. I was just wondering, Mr. Bunker, what's with the Jewish word?
Oh, well, I hear them. We got a couple of heaps working down the building.
Does he use words like that very often? Now and then.
I told you, I work with a couple of Jews.
Begging your pardon, Mr. Bunker, but you wouldn't happen to be one of them, would you? Well, I mean, people don't use Jewish words just like that, do they, Mike? No, not in my experience.
Well, maybe people don't, but I do. And I ain't no Yid.
Well, come to think of it, when your father was visiting last year, wasn't his name Davy or something?
My father's name is David.
David, right. And then what was your mother's name? It was Sarah.
Sarah, yeah, my mother's name is Sarah, so what?
David and Sarah, two Jewish names.
David and Sarah, two names right out of the Bible, which has got nothing to do with the Jews.
You don't want to get upset about it, Mr. Bunker. There's nothing to be ashamed of being Jewish.
But I ain't Jewish.
Look at that. Look at that. See the way he uses his hands when he argues? Very Semitic gesture.
What do you know about it, you dumb Polak? You sure are. You're a Polak joke.
But I don't mind, though. I'm Polish. I don't mind. I'm proud of it. Now, there you are, Mr. Bunker. Now, you ought to be proud you're Jewish.
But I ain't Jewish.
I didn't know you was Jewish.
People should know that I ain't Jewish.
You are talking with your hands.
You see, the Jews tend to be emotional.
Now listen to me. I'm going to give you this once more, and that's all. I am not Jewish.
Yes, sir, Mr. Bunker. But even if you are, it doesn't change things between you and me. I mean, I'm not going to throw away 9 years of friendship over a little thing like that.
Doc, we may not even be going to Minnesota. There's somebody else up for the job, and he happens to be black.
Oh, well, and you're off to Minnesota. A black guy ain't going nowhere.
These days, colleges are hiring blacks over whites.
Well, it is high time.
I don't believe it.
Well, you better believe it. You better believe it. You shouldn't go out there and take a job away from that guy. Oh, it turns out that you're the guy against the colored. I never was. I want to go on record as saying something right here and now. It was up to me. I'd send every colored guy in New York to Minnesota. Yeah, Jefferson, that ain't very nice, talking that way to your little mammy here.
Who you calling Mammy? You. Well, don't you dare call me Mammy. I'm nobody's Mammy. I'm his mother. Now, if you've got anything to say to me, you call me Mrs. Jefferson.
Oh, she's Mrs. Jefferson.
Don't talk to me. And don't you try to make a big either.
Mother Jefferson, what's wrong?
No, I'm getting out of here.
George, what's going on?
He called Mama Mammy. I didn't think I was doing nothing wrong. I thought all colored people call their mothers Mammy. Well, I did, Jefferson. That's what I always heard. Geez, Al Jolson called his mother Mammy for years.
See that, Louise? You see? That's what you kiss for inviting wife.
Al Roger is as clear as a $4 bill, and he knows it.
That's not only cruel, Daddy, that's an outright lie.
You know something, Archie? Just because a guy is sensitive and he's an intellectual and he wears glasses, you make him out a queer.
I never said a guy who wears glasses is a queer. A guy who wears glasses is a four-eyes. A guy who's a fag is a queer.
In a couple minutes.
Oh my God.
That's just stupid, Jefferson. Besides, getting elected, there's more to that than just being smart.
There is, huh? Then how come we don't have a black president? I mean, some of our black people are just as dumb as Nixon.
You ain't got a black president, Jefferson, because God ain't ready for that yet.
Wait a second. What?
That's right. God's got to try it out first by making a black pope, which he ain't done yet.
Oh, maybe that's because God ain't Catholic.
We know that line.
Can't you men change the subject?
Yeah, Gloria's right. This is no time
I'm
to be...
talking, Michael.
Oh, boy.
Is that all you can talk about? Whether a black man or a white man should be president?
Well, what do you want to talk about, little girl?
How about a woman president?
Oh, holy cow.
A woman president?
Mr. Jefferson, this may come as a big surprise to you, but women are much more oppressed than blacks.
I don't see no ghetto for women.
What do you call a kitchen?
I call it a prison.
Hey, out of this, Louise, you're talking foolish.
Do you know what Shirley Chisholm said? Shirley Chisholm said that she ran into more discrimination because she was a woman than because she was black.
That's why she didn't get elected.
Right.
Because she was talking foolish.
Mr. Jefferson, she wasn't...
Kind of interesting hearing that when we did have a black president and we still haven't had a woman president.
Foolish. The business world has been doing the same thing to us now that they've been doing to you. They're hiring token women.
Well, by the same token, hire one for me.
Not funny, Michael.
I'll see you later.
The whole point I'm trying to make is that you take these things like what do you call loyal and love. Well, your colored families, they don't feel them things like your colorless families.
Listen, I got something to say. Gather on, everybody. I'm going to make a toast to Archie.
Let's toast for my daddy.
It's been a great experience living on this street and watching this wonderful family of Edith, Gloria, and Mike. I want to thank you, Bunker, for letting me know and letting me see that some white folks are better than other white folks.
Damn. He doesn't know how to take that.
Oh, no! While the Estradas are thinking it over, you and Henry are trying to find somebody else to buy the house.
You don't call that crooked? No! That's looking out for number one.
Where does that place Henry Jefferson?
He's number two. Why is he number two? Because, meathead, there can only be one number one and one number two. And life made Jefferson number two long before I come along.
So I suppose that the Puerto Ricans are number three.
I don't know. We didn't see that.
3A, 3B. Yeah, now, you're being colored. Well, I know you had no
Sammy
choice in
Davis.
that. But whatever made you turn Jew? Yes. I was just remembering the last time I seen you on TV. It was on a Johnny Carson show. Oh, yeah. He was on with that there Raquel Walsh. Remember, Edith?
Oh, yeah, I remember. Oh, you were so sweet to her, Mr. Davis.
Oh, thank you.
Archie said he never thought he'd see the day when coloreds and whites would be hugging and kissing coast to coast.
What you mean, Archie? But you see, it's not me. See, they put a kissing clause in my contract.
Huh?
Well, you see, it's those white celebrities. Well, this year we're in, so they all want to jump on the bandwagon.
You mean to tell me the networks force you to kiss against your will?
Well, what are you going to do?
Oh, well, that ain't right, Sam. I mean, you know, gee, to force the races to intersex that way on the air? Now, no prejudice intended, but, you know, I always check with the Bible on these here things. Oh, yeah. I think that, I mean, if God had meant us to be together, he'd have put us together. Well, look what he done. He put you over in Africa. He put the rest of us in all the white countries.
What?
Well, you must have told him where we were, because somebody came and got us.
Wow.
I mean, there was work for us. I mean, and how could you resist? Free transportation, room, board, chains.
I think you're talking about slavery there, Sam. I want to tell you that I was always dead set against slavery. You see what goes on around here, Sammy? Every time I start to have a serious conversation, these kids go crazy. Another thing they're always doing to me, they're always telling me I'm prejudiced. Now listen, you're a guy been around a lot. You've seen a lot of people, you know a lot, see? Now you look at me. You figure me for prejudiced kind?
Oh, Archie, don't tell me you're really paying attention to those young kids. What do they know? I mean, you prejudice. Look, if you were prejudiced, Archie, when I came into your house, you would have called me a coon or a nigger. But you didn't say that. I heard you clear as a bell. Right straight out, you said, colored.
Yeah, that's what I done, all right.
And if you were prejudiced, you would, like some people, close their eyes to what's going on in this great country that we live in. But not you, Archie. Your eyes are wide open. You can tell the difference between black and white. And I have a deep-rooted feeling that you'll always be able to tell the difference between black and white. And if you were prejudiced, you'd walk around thinking that you're better than anybody else in the world. But I can honestly say, having spent these marvelous moments with you, you ain't better than anybody.
Damn.
Can I have your hand on that, Sam? Now, I hope you all heard that over there. That comes straight from Sammy Davis Jr., Mr. Wonderful himself. And that should prove to you once and for all that I ain't prejudiced.
This one is for me. Mr. Munson, would you stand over there? I want one picture taken with Archie Bunker, my friend, and me.
You want me?
Yes. Now, on three, okay? 1, 2, 3.
But while we're on the subject of looks, we're going to play Santa Claus. You know, Santa Claus was white and so was his beard.
Told you to sit down, Uncle Henry.
That's ridiculous. I'd look silly with a white beard. And who said Santa Claus was white?
Oh, come on now, I had the same argument with you about Jesus. I hate to go over old ground again, but the fact is Jesus is white and so is Santa Claus.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you something, Bunker. When I was a kid on Christmas Eve, the guy that used to fill my stocking was black.
Well, let me tell you
I think we ought to get going. You know the kids down at the center, Uncle Henry. Come on, let's go, Mom. Hey.
And what about you, sir?
Scotch and soda, please.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Jefferson, there's a switch for you. This guy giving you the big yes, sir?
Why? He's a bartender, ain't he?
Yeah, but what I meant was I'm used to having it the other way around.
Oh, yeah? How many servants you got in that mansion you living in?
What do you mean by that?
Let me tell you something about people.
There you are.
Thank you. That bartender's willing to work for me because if you got enough green in your pocket, then black becomes his favorite color.
The way your Mayor Lindsay runs the city's transportation system, a working man could get home for supper around breakfast time.
Now, look, Archie,
I'll say one thing for Mussolini. There's no bundle of laughs, but he sure can make a train run on time.
Hi.
Oh, hey. Hey, if you're looking for the Elks Club, it's down the hall.
No, I'm still in the right place.
Oh, yeah? What are you, the caterer? So what are you doing here, a white guy?
I'm a guest. What are you doing here, a white guy?
I'm the family's white friend.
Benny! Oh, Mom! You look beautiful. Oh, so do you, baby. So do you.
You see that little girl over there? That's the little girl that Lionel's gonna marry.
Yeah, I know. And you know who that lady is hugging her?
No?
She's my wife.
Oh, the hi, Mr. Wells. Hi. Oh, I see you met Mr. Bunker. Oh, we met.
Well, Lionel, shouldn't we introduce my parents to yours?
Oh, yeah, sure. Now, wait a minute there, Lionel. Hey, do you mean to tell me that your father ain't met that man? No, I'm going to introduce him right now. Yes, I am.
What?
No.
Okay. Wow, that was my first time watching Archie Bunker.
It was a little more grating than I remember, but
A little more what?
grating.
What's that mean?
They kind of like, the sound of like your nails on a chalkboard.
Really?
Yeah.
It comes out. It felt a little different watching it like this.
Yeah.
Yeah. You said he was a little racist. I think he's a little bit more than a little racist. But your question.
I don't know if he's racist at all. I think he just hates everybody,
Well, I would say
regardless of race.
I don't think he's. I don't think he's mean, or what's the word? I don't think he's mean. I don't know. He seems like just like your cranky old uncle, but he doesn't seem to have malicious intent.
Right.
He just seems to be more of a playful ignorant.
And I think he just wants to be just left alone by everybody.
Yeah, but as you can see, he's not. Yeah, he doesn't have malicious intent. He's not evil.
Yeah.
He just kind of is like He's just really set in his ways. He just happens to be a little bit ignorant.
Yeah, I think ignorance is a good word because in the show he does develop like the relationship with Lionel and the Jeffersons.
Yeah.
And he ends up being good friends with them.
Yeah.
So I think it's, I think ignorance is a good way to put it.
I think so. Because just in the interactions that I saw with a number of different people, it seemed like he didn't hate these people. He just happened to think ignorant things. But there was no mean-spirited evil there.
Yeah.
So those type of people, you can actually break through, I think.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because but you know the type of people I'm talking about who are just really evil.
Yeah.
You can't, there's no convincing those people. There's no getting through to them.
Yeah.
But a person like that who just might be stuck in a different time and be stuck in his ways, or just really, really misinformed and not very worldly, you can get through to those people, I think.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, this is a little kind of a time capsule of the 70s, which was pretty cool. We just did the 80s with Married with Children.
Yeah.
And we're going to explore more shows, the ones you mentioned, Sanford and Son, the Jeffersons.
The Jeffersons. Yeah.
Just, what's his name? Helmsley? What's his name? The actor, the black dude.
Oh, I don't remember.
Sherman Helmsley.
Okay.
Is that his name?
That sounds right.
He is a pretty entertaining looking fella, so I definitely would love to check more of him out.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks for watching, y'all. You are watching Type of Dudes, and we will see you next time.
Peace.